Poltergeist, 1982. 20 weird facts you didn't know. They're here. Poltergeist wasn't just a haunted house movie. It was a nightmare that bled into real life. Cursed sets, real skeletons, and a tragedy so dark it spawned one of Hollywood's most infamous legends. These are 20 weird facts about Poltergeist. And buried in the chaos, a swimming pool scene that still makes actors refuse to work with certain props. Stay close to the light. This gets dark fast. Number 1. The skeletons in the pool weren't props. They were real. When JoBeth Williams was thrown into that muddy water during the iconic pool scene, thrashing among what she thought were plastic bones, she was actually swimming with actual human skeletons. The production team had purchased real skeletons because they were cheaper than fabricating fake ones. No one told her until after the scene was wrapped. Williams later said the moment she found out, her skin crawled. She'd been grabbing them, pushing them away, her face inches from actual human remains. To this day, it's one of the most disturbing behind-the-scenes revelations in horror history. And it's the moment many point to when they talk about the Poltergeist curse. Number 2. 4 cast members died within 6 years of the franchise. Dominique Dunne, who played the teenage daughter Dana, was strangled by her ex-boyfriend just months after the first film's release. She was 22. Heather O'Rourke, the little girl who played Carol Ann, died at age 12 from complications during surgery, just before Poltergeist 3 was released. Julian Beck, who played Kane in Poltergeist 2, died of stomach cancer before the film even hit theaters. And Will Sampson, the medicine man in the sequel, died a year later from post-operative kidney failure. 4 deaths, 6 years, 1 franchise. Some called it coincidence. Others called it a curse. And the real skeletons didn't help the theory. Number 3. Steven Spielberg directed most of the movie, not Tobe Hooper. Officially, Tobe Hooper was the director. His name is on the poster. But on set, it was Spielberg calling the shots. Spielberg had co-written and produced the film, but he was also contractually tied to E.T., which was shooting at the same time, so he couldn't be credited as director. But crew members later confirmed Spielberg was the one behind the camera for most scenes, setting up shots, directing actors, controlling the tone. Hooper was there, but he was more of a shadow. It became one of Hollywood's worst-kept secrets, and it quietly destroyed Hooper's reputation for years. He'd made the Texas Chainsaw Massacre a horror masterpiece. But after Poltergeist, people questioned if he'd ever really been in control. Number 4. The movie was almost rated X for a face-ripping scene. There's a moment where a paranormal investigator hallucinates in the bathroom. He claws at his own face, ripping the flesh off in chunks until his skull is exposed. It's grotesque, visceral nightmare fuel, and the MPAA hated it. They threatened to slap the film with an X rating, which would have killed its box office. Spielberg fought back. He argued the scene was meant to be horrifying, not gratuitous. After tense negotiations and a few trims, they got it down to a PG rating. That's right, PG, not even PG-13, which didn't exist yet. A movie with real skeletons, a face-melting hallucination, and a child being dragged into a supernatural void got a PG. Parents were furious, but the box office didn't care. Number 5. Carol Ann's voice was partially dubbed by an adult. Heather O'Rourke was only 5 years old during filming, and while she delivered one of the most iconic child performances in horror history, her voice wasn't always hers. For certain lines, especially the eerie "they're here," the production team layered in the voice of an adult actress to give it a more unsettling, otherworldly tone. It's subtle, but once you know, you can hear it. That flat, distant delivery that made the line so chilling? It wasn't entirely a child. It was a ghost of a performance, literally. Number 6. The clown doll was operated by a real person underneath the bed. That nightmare-inducing clown that attacks Robbie wasn't just a puppet on strings. There was a small-statured performer crammed under the bed, manually controlling the doll's movements in real time. The actor playing Robbie, Oliver Robbins, didn't know this at first. When the clown suddenly lunged at him, his terror was genuine. He thought it was malfunctioning. Spielberg loved the reaction so much, he kept it in. Robbins later said he had nightmares for weeks, and he wasn't alone. The clown became one of the most traumatizing images of 80s horror, spawning a generation of coulrophobia. Number 7. The house was built on an actual Indian burial ground. Well, sort of. The film's plot revolves around a suburban home built over a cemetery where the bodies were never moved. And while the movie set wasn't literally on a burial ground, the production did film in a real neighborhood in Simi Valley, California, where Native American artifacts had been discovered during construction years earlier. Some crew members believed the location carried bad energy. Strange accidents happened. Equipment malfunctioned. People got sick. Whether it was coincidence or something darker, the parallels between fiction and reality were too close for comfort. Number 8. Zelda Rubinstein was only 4 feet 3 inches and used her size to terrify the studio. Rubinstein, who played the psychic Tangina, was a powerhouse, tiny in stature but massive in presence. She had a condition called dwarfism, but she never let Hollywood typecast her. On set, she commanded respect. When executives tried to cut her scenes or minimize her role, she fought back, threatening to walk. Spielberg backed her. He knew she was the heart of the film. Her line, "This house is clean," became one of the most quoted moments in horror, and she delivered it with such authority that even the crew fell silent. Number 9. The static on the TV was real, unscripted white noise. In 1982, when TV stations signed off for the night, screens would go to static. That's the image Carol Ann stares at in the film's opening. But what most people don't know is that the production team didn't use a pre-recorded loop. They filmed actual static, live, from a TV set. And according to some paranormal researchers, TV static can act as a conduit for electronic voice phenomena, or EVP. Whether Spielberg knew this or not, the choice added an unintentional layer of authenticity to the film's supernatural premise. Some crew members claimed they heard faint voices in the static during playback. No one could ever confirm it, but no one could deny it either. Number 10. Craig T. Nelson did his own stunts, and one almost killed him. In the scene where he's dragged across the ceiling of Carol Ann's bedroom, Nelson insisted on doing it himself. He was harnessed and pulled by wires, but something went wrong. The rig malfunctioned, and he slammed into the wall at full speed. He was dazed, bruised, nearly knocked unconscious. Spielberg called for a medic, but Nelson, ever the professional, shook it off and finished the take. He later admitted he thought he was going to die. And when you watch the scene, you can see the genuine fear in his eyes. That wasn't acting. That was survival. Number 11. The tree that attacks Robbie was inspired by Spielberg's childhood fear. Spielberg has said in interviews that as a child, he was terrified of a tree outside his bedroom window. The branches would scrape against the glass during storms, and he was convinced it was trying to get in. That fear became the basis for one of Poltergeist's most iconic scenes. The gnarled tree that crashes through the window and tries to devour Robbie wasn't just a horror trope. It was Spielberg exorcising his own demons, and it worked. The scene is primal, tapping into a fear that's universal. The thing outside that wants in. Number 12. The medium's chant was based on real spiritual practices. When Tangina performs her cleansing ritual, she chants in a language that sounds ancient, otherworldly. It wasn't made up. The dialogue was adapted from actual Native American and spiritualist practices, researched by the film's consultants. Rubinstein worked with a real medium to get the cadence and tone right. She wanted it to feel authentic, not like Hollywood hokum. And it shows. The scene has a weight to it, a gravity that makes you believe, even for a moment, that she might actually be able to save that little girl. Number 13. The film's iconic poster was painted, not photographed. In an era before Photoshop, the haunting image of Carol Ann's hands pressed against a static-filled TV screen was created by artist John Alvin. He painted it by hand, blending oils and acrylics to create that ghostly, surreal effect. The image became so iconic that it's been parodied and referenced in countless films and TV shows. But the original? That was pure artistry. Alvin later said it took him weeks to get the hands just right, to make them look like they were reaching out from another dimension. He succeeded. The poster is still one of the most recognizable in horror history. Number 14. Heather O'Rourke's audition made Spielberg cry. When 5-year-old Heather walked into the audition room, she was eating a sandwich. Spielberg asked her to scream. She put down the sandwich, let out a blood-curdling shriek, then picked it back up and kept eating. Spielberg was floored. He later said he got choked up because she was so natural, so unself-conscious. She wasn't trying to be scary, she just was. He cast her on the spot. And in doing so, he gave the world one of the most unforgettable child performances in cinema. Tragically, it would also be her legacy. Number 15. The house implosion was done in one take with no CGI. The climactic scene where the house collapses in on itself, sucking everything into the void, was achieved with practical effects. No computers, no second chances. The crew built a detailed miniature of the house, rigged it with explosives and pneumatic systems, and filmed it collapsing in real time. If they messed up, they'd have to rebuild the entire thing. The pressure was immense, but they nailed it. One take, one explosion, one of the most visually stunning moments in 80s horror. And it was all real. Number 16. JoBeth Williams' pictures kept moving on the wall. During filming, Williams stayed in a house near the set. Every night, she'd come home and find the pictures on her wall crooked. She'd straighten them. The next night, they'd be crooked again. She thought it was the house settling, or maybe vibrations from traffic. But it kept happening, every single night. She mentioned it to Spielberg, half joking about the curse. He didn't laugh. He told her to be careful. To this day, Williams doesn't have an explanation. She just knows it stopped the day after filming wrapped. Number 17. The film was shot in the same neighborhood as E.T. Spielberg was juggling 2 films at once. And to save time, he shot both Poltergeist and E.T. in the same suburban neighborhood in the San Fernando Valley. Some of the houses you see in Poltergeist are just streets away from where Elliot rode his bike. It's a strange juxtaposition. One film about a friendly alien, the other about malevolent spirits. But both tapped into the same suburban anxiety, the fear that something dark lurks beneath the surface of the American dream. Spielberg was exploring both sides of that coin simultaneously. Number 18. The script was written in 3 weeks. Spielberg co-wrote the screenplay with Michael Grace and Mark Victor, and they banged it out in less than a month. Spielberg had the entire story in his head, fully formed. He knew the beats, the scares, the emotional arc. He just needed to get it on paper. The speed shows. The script is tight, focused, with no wasted scenes. Every moment builds toward the next. It's a masterclass in economical storytelling. And it proves that sometimes the best ideas come fast. Number 19. Beatrice Straight filmed all her scenes in one day and was paid $10,000. Straight played Dr. Lesh, the parapsychologist who investigates the haunting. She was on set for exactly one day. She delivered her lines, nailed every take, and left. For that single day of work, she was paid $10,000, which in 1982 was a significant sum. But she earned it. Her performance grounded the film, giving it scientific credibility and emotional weight. She made you believe that what was happening was real, that it could be studied, understood. And then she was gone. One day, one perfect performance. Number 20. The film's original ending was much darker. In early drafts, Carol Ann didn't make it out. The family escaped, but the little girl was lost forever, trapped in the other dimension. Spielberg fought to change it. He argued that audiences needed hope, needed to believe that love could conquer even the darkest evil. The studio agreed, and the ending was rewritten. Carol Ann survives. The family drives away. The house implodes. It's a happy ending, or as happy as a horror movie can be. But somewhere, in a drawer or a vault, that original script exists, and in it, the darkness wins. Poltergeist wasn't just a movie. It was a warning, a reminder that some doors, once opened, can never be closed. If this one still haunts you, drop a comment. Tell us what weird fact made you rewind. Because in a film where the line between fiction and reality blurred, the scariest part might be that some of these stories are still unfinished.